Welcome once again to another edition of Quoth The Raven, Lewis Bright Raven. I'm your host, Lewis Bright Raven, 29-year veteran writer, artist, and illustrator of comics, science fiction, fantasy, horror, and role-playing games. And it is Thursday, September 9th, 2021. I apologize for the late hour the show got started. I had a little bit of computer issues with Google Drive. It didn't want to load the graphics for the show at all. So I had a little bit of an issue with that, but we got it resolved. Hopefully, it should be working. So, hope you guys are having a good week. It's been kind of a crazy situation. John Norris comes in and says good evening. Good evening to you as well, John. I hope you're having a good week and that your, I'm trying to think of the word, rehearsals are going well. It's kind of a busy situation this week because I've changed the scheduling of what we're doing on the show now. So now Thursday nights will be, or not necessarily nights, but Thursdays will be when I do the comics reviews for the week instead of the following Monday. Some people said I was waiting too long and they were to get reviews from everybody else sooner. And when I was doing the Thursday night chat, a lot of creators just weren't available on Thursday nights. So we decided to go ahead and change the format so that my reviews are on Thursdays now. So let's go ahead and get to those. Our first book of the night is CANTO 3, LIONHEARTED, number 3, with $3.99. Publishers IW Publishing, written by David M. Booher, artist Drew Zucker, colors Vittorio Astone, lettering by Anne Design. The genre is fantasy and it was released September 8th, 2021. As Canto and Allura embark on the quest to find the Vicus and the icy Frista wastes, Falco and Ricta sneak into the city of Dis to scout for a surprise attack. Neither quest goes according to plan. Falco and Ricta stumble onto a much greater threat, and Canto tears on the edge of failure, quite literally. What I think of it is, it's a well-executed middle act issue with the parties split up and dealing with their own crises. There still needs to be a little bit more heightened tension or drama that no doubt will come next issue with a resolution in issue 5 to close out the story arc. Boer has a pretty solid pacing going on, but the quote-unquote problem is that it is a middle act and the story really doesn't stand well on its own. If I was just pick up this book on its own as a middle issue, not having any familiarity with the characters or anything, it would fail to engage a brand new reader if it was their very first exposure to the book, in my opinion. And that's not been a problem with the book previously, but this one, it just happened to be not as solid on that front. So for that, it does get a little bit lesser score. It is recommended for ages 10 and up, and I gave it 3 stars. Now, people have been telling me to nix the pages. Other people have been telling me to save the pages. So this week I'm not going to show interior page art. Let me know what you guys want. If you want me to add the interior page art or you just want the quick reviews. Let's go ahead and go on to the next one. It is Eve number 5 of 5. This is the last issue of the story. $3.99 from publisher Boom Studios, writer Victor Laval, artist Joe Mi Young, colorist Brittany Pierre, cover art by Ario and Nandito for the line art with Pierluigi Castellino for colors. The genre is dystopian science fiction, released September 8th, 2021. It's about having fled Wexler, the psychotic robotic teddy bear companion that was trying to kill her, and her older twin self. Eve gets to the vault where she meets a computer AI of her mother who runs the vault, which is also a mini mechanoid, think Battletech or something like that. She gets in the mecha, and climbing up out of the sea, she takes the mecha and fights off Wexler, and then plants seeds to heal the Earth of the virus that's infecting it. Wexler thus reverts back to his companion, non-creepy self, and we learn that even though the older version the older clone version of Eve turned zombified from the virus, Wexler was able to somehow not kill her, even though it was pretty much implied last issue that she was killed. But no, apparently all he did was knock her out. So now he had her under control and long enough to reverse the process and return her to health also. What I think is that it's a kind of an anticlimactic ending to the story. I didn't buy Wexler reverting back to normal, or that the older Eve should be alive. Like I said, it was implied that Wexler killed her as she went into the ravenous zombie virus-infected version of herself last issue. So that was a little bit disappointing to me in that regard. I just would have destroyed Wexler had I was writing it myself. Had her plant the tree seeds that would recycle the air and purge the virus, although I'm not exactly sure how that works either. But we'll run with it. And then Eve would have just reconnected with the other kids from earlier in issues in the series without the older self who had sacrificed herself to protect Eve. Another point I didn't really get is if the older Eve knows where the vault is and to get there, why she just didn't go into the vault herself and resolve it. It didn't quite make sense. So this last issue really doesn't work for me, sadly. This book had been regularly getting 4 stars, 4.5 stars. This one got 3.5. The overall rating for the whole series got knocked down to 3.5 because of the issue. It was just, the ending just did not work for me at all, unfortunately. John says, oh dear, he had to get a tooth extracted. I'm sorry to hear that, John. I hope you're feeling better, though. Again, that's always no fun having to deal with that. Our next book. Hold on a second. Let me cut back here for a second. Okay, there we go. Something was driving me crazy on the background there. Thank God for nitrous oxide. So you were giggling the whole time you were getting it extracted, or you were just that knocked out? Girls Dimension 13, number 5 of 5 for $3.99. Publisher by Aftershock Comics. Writer Graham Nolan, artist Brett Blevins, colors by Gregory Wright. The letterer is Carlos M. Manqual, I believe. I forgot to write him in the full thing, but it is on the cover there. The genre is fantasy, supernatural. It was released August 25th, 2021, but I did not get the book until last week because of Diamond screwing things up. Anyway, what it's about. The girls must stop Braxis in a heated battle against the Lord of Death, that's Braxis, his minions, before he breaches the barrier and enters our plane of existence. But what hope do they have when they cannot kill him without destroying the multiverse in the process? Kind of like Eve, it was rather anticlimactic ending to the storyline. This is kind of a trend. I'm seeing a lot of comics like that. They go 3 or 5 issues and then they don't quite really finish the story to me. I was rather indifferent about the story overall. It is recommended for ages 13 and up. I give this one a 3 out of 5, and I give the overall series, all 5 issues combined, 3.5 star rating. Oh, you needed to be able to drive yourself home afterwards, so that's why you went with nitrous oxide instead of a full anesthesia. Well, that makes sense. Yeah, well, was that an emergency situation, or was that hold on a second real quick here. Yeah. Yeah, that's a good one. Check your messenger, John. I don't know if you're able to even talk with the tooth extracted, but talk with the tooth extracted. Sorry about that. My screen went onto the other thing there, to my old screen with the Google without the sound. I need to cut the sound off on it. Okay. Let's go ahead and move on to our next book because we got a lot to be covered tonight. And if John comes in, I'll let him in. Green Lantern number 6 is $4.99. Publisher DC Comics. Writer Jeffrey Thorne. Artists are Marco Santucci and Tom Rainey, with colors by Mike Attier and letters by Simon Boland, with a cover by Bernard Chang and Alex Sinclair. The genre is science fiction, political drama, superhero storyline. It is released September 7th, 2021. Joe Moline, that's the Far Sector Green Lantern, talks face to face with Sinestro. Of course, he's leader of Sinestro Corps, while Simon Baz, it's supposed to say grabs, Teen Lantern Kelly, who's on the cover there sitting on the stool asking who's next, and gets her off of New Kuragar before the Sinestro Corps eventually regroup and kick her butt. In the process, he finds out that his former partner, Jessica Cruz, has just joined the Yellow Lanterns as the Corps' newest member. Then, deep in space, Kilowog, who's been cut off from the Green Lantern Corps, fights for his life in the dark sectors, but without a working ring, he may not stand much of a chance of survival. The Green Lantern Corps finally gets messages and send a rescue team with John Stewart, but will they be in time? John says, Mike Dennis wanted to confer with the Emma. Oh. Okay, cool. All right. Cool. Well, like I said, check your messenger, your Facebook Messenger. But anyway, yeah, my thoughts on this one, on Green Lantern. It was a much better issue than I thought it was going to be. The cover does suck, in my opinion, though, because it has nothing to do with what's going on in the story. It really doesn't reflect anything other than the cutesy image of Teen Lantern beating up all the Sinestro Corps, which would never really happen. Kelly may be very powerful with her gauntlet, but she's not that experienced, and she would get her butt handed to her in the end. Joe, as usual, is handled very well as a character by Thorne. The art is very good by Santucci. The Stewart story by Rainey is okay, but I'm losing interest in that subplot a little bit. But at least there was a new twist at the end of the issue, end of Rainey's part of the storyline, and that might keep people like myself who are losing a little bit interest on the line, so to speak, keep us still hooked to watch to see what happens next. It's recommended for ages 13 and up, and I give it 4 out of 5 stars overall. And there's our friend John.
Hello.
Hey, so what exactly happened here? Was this like an emergency extraction, or did you just have?
No, it had needed to be done for some time. It's just my dentist wanted to actually be able to confer with this MUSC specialist just to make sure that they were both on the same page, and they were finally able to do that this week, and they literally squeezed me into their schedule. So,
well, if they had to squeeze you in, I'm sure that they felt it was like an emergency anyway. It had to be done, right? But that's good. At least you say you're not in any pain per se. I mean, you're not bleeding anymore.
Right.
So they extracted the whole tooth. Are they going to like replace it with another tooth later, or?
I don't think so. No.
Okay. Was it more of a back molar, or?
No, it was front.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry.
Well.
Yeah, it doesn't help when you get those. But all righty. Well, other than that, how's your week been?
Pretty good.
Well, if you had to do that, then how's I presume you missed your
rehearsals. Well, actually, I wasn't scheduled for them anyway, so
that's good.
It worked out.
Okay, well, that's good.
I do have rehearsal tomorrow, but I mean, I'm feeling well enough to go. So
awesome.
So I haven't missed anything.
That's good. That's good. I mean, how can they have rehearsal without the musical director?
Well, they can do blocking for the dialogue scenes.
That's true. So, yeah. Okay, well, it was like, when you said you had to drive yourself home afterwards, I was like, oh dear. That had to be quite an interesting experience.
No, I mean, I was fully conscious. I was in total control of all my faculties and everything. So,
yeah. Well, if you ever need that and you need to take the full anesthesia, to call, right?
Yes.
Okay. We'll figure out something, we'll come get you if we have to. I mean, somebody's got to take care of you guys, right? So, alrighty. Well, let's see what we got here. We got another Green Lantern book. And that is Annual 2021, $5.99. Publisher DC Comics. Writer Ryan Cady. With artist Sam Basiri and Tom Derenick. Colored by Hi-Fi Studios. Lettered by Rob Lee. Covered by Bernard Chang and Alex Sinclair again. They seem to be the pair for those Green Lantern covers these days. Science fiction, political drama, superhero. Again, released September 7th. Jessica Cruz converts from the Green Lantern Corps over to the Sinestro Corps and has a confrontation with Hal Jordan, where she explains that the way she intends to operate as a member of the Sinestro Corps is different than the others, and that she isn't going to play by their rules, supposedly. We'll see how that turns out. What I think, Ryan Cady and probably Jeffrey Thorne, Nora K. Jemison, and others in the Green Lantern writer room, shall we say, seem to have really put some thought into this story, and the Jessica Cruz character and her thought process and her logic in her decision making, her explanation to Hal as to why she's doing what she's doing, her reactions to Sinestro both before and after the decision has been made. It's so well done. I would not be adverse to seeing her star in her own book as a member of the Sinestro Corps. And that's saying quite a lot, seeing as I loathe the idea of spin-off books. And Cruz has never really impressed me much as a character before. So I want to give kudos to Ryan Cady for the story. Again, the cover, just like the other Green Lantern book, is rather misleading. It's the only thing I really don't like about this book is the cover. Like I said, she doesn't, really fight Hal. She just tells Hal off more than anything else, and Hal just takes it because he's like, "Yeah, you're right. Okay." So, it's an okay issue. I gave it 4 out of 5. Okay, our next book is Groom 101, number 1. This is a $10 book. It is a Kickstarter from Ted Davies Artistry, writer-artist Ted Davies. Genre dark fantasy. It was released late August 2021, but I received it on September 1st and just hadn't gotten around to opening it and reading it. What it's about. Jim is a lonely spirit who seems to be trapped in a cemetery assigned to being a Grim, a spirit or entity that sends despair and grief to those who visit the cemetery during funerals or just visiting their dead loved ones. He has no memory of his existence before this, and nobody seems to be able to see or hear him, just feel his presence once in a while when he's trying to do his job. Only he isn't a very good Grim, because he would rather make people laugh than make them sad. This story is his journal, explaining his existence should anyone ever somehow find him, until he sees an attractive redhead move into the cemetery or a building near the cemetery. Her name is Wendy, and she is special, for she can actually see him. Who or what is she? And what does this mean for a spirit who has no memory of who or what he was? To be honest, for some reason I was thinking this was going to be more of a comic book. It isn't. It's a prose fiction chat fic book in the guise of a journal. It still has plenty of artwork in it, and I'm going to show that to you in just a second. And I'm by no means disappointed that it isn't a comic. In fact, I'm not sure the story would be as effective as if it was a comic book. The protagonist, Jim, is interesting enough, and the story is relatively quick read for a 35 to 36 page story. As a Kickstarter book, I understand the price point, and I hope that my describing it as a prose chat book for $10 doesn't deter other people from checking it out. This project was picked up on option for either a film or TV series. I'm not sure. Mr. Davies is actually in California as we speak, in meetings discussing these things and getting the contracts finalized. So we'll see how that goes. But I don't know how much of the story is actually going to get released before they figure out a script and shoot it. He'll have to come on the show and explain that later, and I'm sure he will. The print and bookmark that came with the book are quite nice as well. I do recommend it for ages 14 up, and I give it 3.5 stars. Let's take a quick look. Normally I don't, but you can see it's a little bit smaller than a regular comic.
Yep.
This is the bookmark. It says, "Eternity does not employ timekeepers, Jim." And it's kind of interesting. All the text is in this very interesting font.
Cool.
There are numerous color wash illustrations like these throughout the book. Some of them you can kind of make out what they are, and some of them are a little more abstract, I think. But there's Jim over a tombstone. The paper is very nice. It's that glossy stock. This is the book that he finds as the Grimm 101 rule book that tells him what he's supposed to be doing. Describing a rusted gate. He's talking about pretending and about whether or not people remember him or anything like that, and how the trees lose and remember things when they have the leaves fall and then grow back. So this is like what's the leaf symbolism there. Here's another close-up of Jim's face. So, yeah, it's an interesting story, though. I'm hoping that we'll get to see more of it. Now, along with the book, I got a print. It came with it. This image is also at the back in the cover of the story, but it's just bigger, obviously, and you can see more of the color to it than in the book, on the book cover. So that's pretty cool. I thought it was worth the $10. Did you back this, John?
No.
No? Okay. I wasn't sure if you had or not. Because I would have thought if you had, you would have received it by now. That's what I was wondering. Okay. Let's go ahead and go on to our next work. And that is Jules Verne's Lighthouse, number 5 of 5 issues for $4.99. Publisher is Shadowline Image Comics. Writers are David Hine and Brian Haberlin. The art is by David Haberlin with colors by Jared Van Dyke. I don't know who did the lettering on this offhand. I apologize. I forgot to get the letter on there. The genre is science fiction. It was released September 1st, 2021. It is for mature readers. In this final issue, Vasquez and Captain Congray go head-to-head in a battle to decide the future of the human species. The seraphim suits that they wear are the ultimate battle armor, but wearing them means they feel the pain of every blow, and the pain only stops when one of them is dead. Only Moses, which is her giant robot AI that's over her shoulder in the picture, and Felipe, who's one of the people who worked in her station, have a different agenda in play. Can Vasquez survive everyone else's machinations, stop the pirates, save humanity, and make it home to her family? I thought it was reasonably resolved, I guess. It didn't quite have the punch I was expecting at the last issue, but I don't want to spoil the twist at the end. I think I've hinted at it enough by saying others have their own agendas going on in the storyline. It does have a quote-unquote happy ending, as it were. I gave it 3.5 stars for this issue and 3.5 stars for the overall 5-issue series. Our next book is Last Flight Out number 1, $3.99 from Dark Horse. Writer Mark Guggenheim, artist Eduardo Ferragamo, colors by Marcelo Costa, lettering by Diego Sanchez. Genre is apocalyptic science fiction, released September 8th, 2021. What it's about: with Earth rendered uninhabitable, whether this is due to, they don't exactly say why it's uninhabitable, but they got less than 24 hours before they get everybody else on the last ship to leave the planet. So they're evacuating to the stars. And the last arc leaves forever in less than 24 hours, and its designer, his estranged daughter, has gone missing. So he coerces the president of the U.S. to get a special task force team to take him to Chicago to collect her. And in the trip there from California, I think they're in California, to Chicago, their air transport gets taken out and they crash, killing part of their crew. Now they have to make it to Chicago by foot, find his daughter, and somehow make it all the way back to California and the arc in certainly under 24 hours. I think it's like 18 hours they have left to try and do it. And I don't know how close they are to Chicago. They don't say in the story. What I think about this book? Well, this one's going to trigger just about everybody who reads it, I think. If you are annoyed by the current COVID situation in the real world, I can't recommend this book to you because this takes that concept of viruses or the world coming to an end to the next level. If you're annoyed by President Biden's current situation with evacuating troops from Afghanistan and leaving some behind, and that leaves a bad taste in your mouth, then this book is definitely not for you, because they're going to be leaving some of the humans left on Earth to die in this story. So, and it's supposed to be an extinction level event. So, and it doesn't even seem like the author's addressing that or the significance of that point. He's only concerned about this one parent trying to get to his estranged daughter, a daughter who he's never been there for in their entire life, which they've established in the issue. Speaking of which, if you're a child of an absentee parent, do not get this book. It's just going to leave you angry as all hell, because the story is all told from an absentee parent's worldview. So if none of that bothers you, then maybe you can read this book. But if those things might trigger you, don't get this book. But even if that doesn't bother you, or you can compartmentalize and realize that this is just a fictional story, it's kind of weak sauce as a story as well. Like I said, it's all from the parent/engineer's point of view. And for all we know, his daughter wants nothing to do with him. and would rather die on Earth and figures why should he give a shit, because he hasn't given a shit about her all her life. We will, I hope, get around to seeing the daughter and her point of view. But already 2 of the military people are dead, and they've already expressed that one of the military team, the pilot who was a woman and a mother who wasn't exactly appreciating the idea of this mission in the first place, because she's scared she won't make it back to the Ark and get to her family, and that her family will be shattered by her losing her if she's not on the getaway ship. It just seems like he's telegraphing her death to me, and I don't like that. It seems too obvious. So for that, it's not really that impressive of a story for me. The idea has potential, though, so we'll see where it goes. I don't know how many issues in the miniseries this is going to be. I think it's 6 issues. But I can tell you, based on what I've seen of the first issue, if this is not Mark Guggenheim as the writer, I don't believe Dark Horse would have picked it up. Recommended for ages 16 up. I give it 2.5 stars for the first issue. There is potential for it to get better, though. Let's be open-minded about it and hope for the best. Okay. Let's see what else we got. We got MAZEBOOK #1 for $3.99. Publisher Dark Horse. Writer-artist is Jeff Lemire with letterer Steve Wands. Genre is dark fantasy. Released September 8th. And what it's about, Will is a lonely building inspector, still grieving the loss of his puzzle-loving daughter, whom he can't even remember her face anymore. It's been so long since she's been missing, apparently. And he's been subsisting, basically going through the motions of monotony, going to work, doing his job, coming home, going to bed type thing. When he receives a mysterious phone call one night from a girl claiming that it's his daughter, and that she's trapped inside the middle of a labyrinth. Convinced that his child is contacting him from beyond this world, he uses an unfinished maze from one of her journals and a map of the city to trace an intricate path through a different plane of reality on an intense and melancholy adventure to bring his daughter back home. For a double-sized 48-page issue, I kept him and I expected a little bit more story. The entire issue is deliberately slow-paced in the monotony of Will's life, as it is the symbolism of Will's own entrapment via the grief of his loss and his inability to move on, other than in the most trivial senses of going through the motions of subsistence. The point where Will does receive the call and begins to realize he needs to find his daughter is almost at the very end of the issue. And as I say, this is deliberate pacing, and there's nothing inherently wrong with that. It definitely evokes desperation and despair that the protagonist is experiencing very, very well. But when I'm going to pay, that money, I don't know if this was $3.99. It might have been a $5.99. I think it's a $5.99 book, actually, because it is double-sized. If I'm going to read through 40 to 50 pages of story and it's all just set up of the world and what's going on, I have to say I do wish there had been a little bit more to it. But insofar as the overall execution, the book was nice, has a lot of great visual symbolism that is both subtle and evocative in different contexts, and it is certainly a solid book. Recommended for ages 13 up, I gave it 4 out of 5 stars. Again, I'm not really showing interior pages of these. What do you think about that, John? Do you miss the interior pages?
Sometimes, but I mean, I guess it'd be nice to see like maybe a couple, but
okay. So maybe just do like one slot instead of like the 2 or 3 that I sometimes do. Okay, that makes sense. All right, that's fair. Our next book is Red Shift. This is number 2 of 6 for $3.99. The publisher is Scout Comix. Writers H.S. Tack, art by Brent McKee, colors by Sebastian Chang, with lettering by Joel Rodriguez. Genre is science fiction, released September 8th. It's about the Martian colonists sending their last exploration ship for another place to live, a mission that has already failed twice, maybe more. The Drake family has already lost their matriarch, Isabella, to this voyage, and now eldest son Helener is expected to follow in his mother's footsteps, but he refuses, which leaves it to another person named Vera. Only after the ship launches, Vera finds out that another person is on the ship, Helena Drake. Is he there to sabotage the mission and condemn humanity to extinction? It's an interesting cover, playing golf out in the sands of Mars, I guess, but, whatever. Truth be told, the book took so damn long to come out that I have completely lost interest, to be honest, with the story. The first issue came out in May. Here we are in September before I get issue 2. That's not good. Seeing that the first issue was all set up and this issue is really mostly set up as well, that doesn't help. With the delay in the shipping, I really don't know if I'm all that keen on reading the story anymore. That having been said, as far as the execution of the story, it is well executed, but the story does need to get moving already. I'm told by my retailer that Scout plans to have the next issue shipped like in the next week or two to try to get the book back on schedule. But if I'm being honest with myself, it may be a case of a little, too late. It is recommended for ages 16 up. I give it 3 out of 5. If this had been on time, it probably would have got a 4 out of 5. But, I'm just indifferent at this point. I don't care if I read it, and that's not ever a good thing when you're talking about having to go back for repeat business. We have Strange Attractors, number 4, $5.99. This is the 2021 edition, reprinting the classic series from the 90s. This is the main cover. Creators are Mark Sherman and Michael Cohen. Sherman does the scripting, Cohen does the art. They co-plot the book together. This is the main cover by Michael Cohen. I'll show you the variant cover by Cohen, which is the retro variant, and then the guest cover by Andrew People in just a moment. The genre is science fiction, and it came out apparently on September 1st. I just got them on Monday, though. What's about? Sophie, curator of Futuristic Museum, is caught up in an adventure involving science, magic, mathematics, and comic books. In this issue, Sophie sets out to save her friend Pirate Peg from a creature named Centaur and learns the story of the ancient war between magic and science. This is the retro cover. This was done originally in the 90s, when it was done the first time. I like this one better than the main cover. When I think of the story overall, I've forgotten what a quirky and weird, that's a fun kind of weird, I should say, title this is. Keep in mind that this story was originally produced in the 90s and it is a reprinted edition. The only thing I could really say, I wish the story was being done in color, but doing it in color really wasn't likely to be an option given how the artwork was done and how old the art files is or are, most likely. Andrew Peepoy's cover is my favorite cover of the 3, which I'll show you in a moment. Let's do that real quick. That's Andrew's cover. And I don't know if he drew on one of those duo shade boards where you have to use the smelly solution to get the duo shade effect, or if it's a digital effect for all these different shading techniques in here, because you might not be able to tell it, but all of the darker shading on the buildings, on the sand ground, in the middle ground, and then on their legs and arms, on their bodies, is all duo shade effect. So it looks quite interesting. I don't know if he did that with the actual board, because those are hard to come by anymore. They're not really available anymore. Or if he did it with some sort of digital technique. But he did a really nice job with it, and I'm very pleased with that cover. Recommended for ages 16 and up. And it is 4 out of 5 stars. Okay, let's see if we got anything else. Okay, that's pretty much our show for tonight as far as the reviews go. Now, I do want you guys to know that our friend Gary Shipman is going to be doing he has a Kickstarter going for a new sketchbook called Conundrum on Indiegogo, and there's 4 days left on it. And you guys need to check that out because it's actually got the artwork from when I did the Titan character, his mouse character. And I'll show you a little bit what that is real quick if I can get to the page to remind you all what that is. That is not the right page. I hate when it doesn't give me the right page. This is the right page for the where you can go to order it, but I got to show you what the image is because it's not shown on the. There we go. All right. But this is where you can get it, is Indiegogo. And let me get that. It doesn't want to share it. It doesn't want to do it right. It won't let me do it. There we go. Hopefully this will work. There you go. Indiegogo.com/projects the Gary Shipman Sketchbook Conundrum. And we will come back to that in just a second, but I want to share the other screen. It has this piece, and it'll have this piece. I don't know if it's going to have both my pencils and his inks, but it'll definitely have the one on the right, which is his inks over my pencils, in the sketchbook. So if you're interested in getting that image, it will be in the sketchbook. And I promised you guys who had seen it, if you wanted it, I'd let you know when he made it available. So we'll go ahead and go back to sharing the other screen now. Again, there's 3 days left. The digital download is $10. And here's some of the other artwork you can see. His inks over Jack Kirby for Spider-Man. His inks over Toby Mays for John Constantine. It's going to be 100 pages, black and white art, softbound. If they get the stretch goal, it'll be made to a hardbound. I don't know what the stretch goal actually is, but we'll see. There's also some full color pieces as well, apparently. So, but there's some of the artwork that's going to be in there. The science sketchbook is $25, basically, which is a pretty normal price for a sketchbook these days. There's a lot of people who did the early bird special, which gets you original art drawn in your book as well. So you can get 25% off if you get it before. I don't know. I guess it's not. I don't know if it's still available or not. But anyway, you get original Godzilla artwork, original Aang from Last Airbender artwork in there. It actually will be hardbound because they did get their first stretch goal unlocked. So it will be a hardbound, not a soft cover. And if they get to 2,000, you get a free head sketch in the physical book as well. So that's kind of cool. And where are they at right now? Just past 1,000 with 3 days left. I don't think they'll get to the 2,000, but that would be nice if they did. So have you gotten any of Gary? I know you've gotten the Titan book before.
Yes.
What do you think of
I
this?
have.
What do you think of this one?
It looks good. I like Gary's work.
Yeah. So I haven't backed it just yet, but I will back it. I just wanted to let people know about it because most people had asked about what was being done with that artwork because they thought it was going to be in the Titan Mouse and Might page, and along with the other stuff that was in the last campaign. And for whatever reason, Gary didn't put it in there. He decided to put it in a sketchbook, and this is the sketchbook he decided to put it in. So I think partly because I wasn't part of their contest. I had done it separately before the contest was allowed or was brought up. So I think he figured he really couldn't count me in with that. I guess maybe, I don't know. It doesn't matter. There's plenty of cool stuff here. He's got Black Widow original art, Loki original art, Space Ghost original art. You can also buy the rest of his sketchbooks, all 6 of them combined, for $110. Quite a bit of coolness there. And you can also get the actual eagle painted from the cover, the actual original cover painting for $200. So that's not bad. Of course, I don't know if he painted what he painted that on. So it looks like he painted it on board. So and not canvas, but I'm not sure. I'd have to ask him. But that is definitely something I will back myself, so I can get a copy of the book and everything. And I thought I'd let everybody know to go ahead and check that out. Now, as for tomorrow's show, we will be on at 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time because we have a guest, and our guest is Mr. Steve Sims, the creator of, I want to say it right, Beast Hunting Battle Badgers. There we go. And again, it'll be 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 9 p.m. British Standard Time. He is in over there in the UK, and that's why it's that time, because of the time differential between where he's at and where we're at. So that'll be tomorrow night or tomorrow afternoon at 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 9 p.m. British Standard Time. And we will review his cool hardcover edition, which is a nice thick 6-issue hardcover of his series. Again, the Beast Hunting Battle Badgers. I'll go ahead and show a little bit of it in here for you. It's kind of like a medieval, I'm trying to think of the word, anthropomorphic fantasy adventure series with the Badgers fighting monsters. So we'll talk to Steve about that tomorrow at 4, and we'll also look at his prints and the original art that I got when I ordered his piece. And then on Monday, I will be returning with another guest, Mr. Ted Nafe, or Nafe, there we go, of Courtney Crumrin and Witch for Hire fame. As you know, I just recently reviewed this like a week or so ago. We'll be talking about Witch for Hire, Courtney Crumrin. We'll also be talking about his series, Chris, The Wrath, The Gift of Wrath. There you go. And we'll also be talking about some of his other work as well on Monday, and that will be at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 6 o'clock Pacific. So that is what's going on the show moving forward. Again, this is the Indiegogo.com address for Gary Shipman's book, if you're interested in ordering that. And you're going to be rehearsing both tomorrow and Monday, right?
Yep.
I figured that. That's okay. That's the way it is, right?
That's the way it is.
Yeah. But I forgot to ask you. Did you get over to the Scratch and Spin to get your Miss Frisbee print signed by Kristen?
Not yet. I haven't.
Okay. Do you have to have that nearby where you could show the fans?
Yeah.
Yeah, Kristen Keeley's one of our local artists here in the Columbia area. She also works at our Scratch and Spin, my record and comic shop locally here in Columbia. And she did this really beautiful Ms. Frisbee and the Rats Nim print. And John bought it last week when we went to go see Shang-Chi. And he's getting it out of the container as we speak.
Plastic.
Yeah.
And those of you who have watched our show before know that we have talked about The Secret of Nim on this show and how it is one of my top 3 all-time favorite movies. So look at that. That is beautiful.
Yeah.
So I was very happy to receive this.
Yeah, and I think was it 20?
Yeah.
Yeah. Now, if you're interested in that piece from Kristen, let's see. Best thing you can do is go to, let's see, Twitter @SweetScribbler. Let's see. Let me put that in there.
She's also on DeviantArt and Tumblr too.
Right. How about this? Just give her, I don't know. We'll figure it out here. I'm figuring out her stuff. Let's go Shell Suite. Oh yeah, do it that way. I guess you could do it that way. I've got the card as well, but
it's shellsuite.deviantart.com or shellsuite.tumblr.com.
Mm-hmm.
Then Twitter is at
Sweet Scribbler.
Yep.
And then Instagram, I guess that is.
I think so. Shell Sweet Scribbles, all one word.
Yeah. Let's see. There it is. So you can probably read her there, and she's also on Facebook as well, but it doesn't have her Facebook on here, so I can't remember exactly what her Facebook page is. Let me see if I can find it real quick. Okay, that's a heck of a Facebook name. This is her. It's doodly.shellsuite.
Wow.
So if you look up Shell Suite, you'll find it anyway. That's the main thing to look for is Shell Suite. Mm-hmm. She's a huge Turtles and Gargoyles fan, and
that's all the more reason for me to check her out. Gargoyles, love
yes. It. Yep. But So there you go. We've done our promotion of other people today, and I will be back tomorrow at 4. I want to thank John for popping in. I hope you feel well. You say you feel well enough.
I'm actually feeling very well.
So that's good. I just hate that you had to have it extracted. Because I mean, I don't hate that you had to extract it. You had to have it, but I mean, it's always a problem when you start losing teeth.
Yeah.
But so anyway, tomorrow, again, 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, I will be here with Steve Sims, creator of Beast Hunting Battle Badgers. So we will see you guys tomorrow. In the meantime, this is not showing what it's supposed to show, and that's typical for this computer. If you liked this video or you liked any of the information that we were showing you, please hit the like, share, and subscribe buttons to continue to get content from this channel. As always, I thank you for your support. If you want to reach me, Lewis.BrightRaven at Facebook, at Twitter at LewisBrightRaven2, DeviantArt.com/BrightRaven is my DeviantArt handle. You're watching Quoth The Raven, Lewis Bright Raven, exclusively on YouTube. If you want to reach out to me, commission me for something, email me at quothetheravenlbr72@gmail.com. I answer questions live on the show. If it's too personal of a question or something like that, or it's something that you want me to just answer privately, I'll do that as well. And if I don't answer you through the Gmail account or on the air, try lewisbrightraven@yahoo.com. We'll see you guys next time. Thanks for watching.